Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, eventually, courage gets punished, and that is Kadyrov, the Chechen leader who became more and more outspoken. Maybe a little bit too emotional, let's put it this way, but nevertheless, he was calling things as he saw them, and it seems like he drew the attention of the Kremlin. So he's got in a little bit of trouble as far as we know and as far as we are allowed to know. I have this article from an Ukrainian source, so obviously we have to look at it with a reservation. It's from Ukrainska Pravda from October 3rd, 2022. Kremlin advises Kadyrov to, quote unquote, set aside emotions when discussing special operation. You know what it is? That is like in time of mafiosis or mafia in Chicago, when someone was talking too much. You know, like in the 20s, 30s, you talk too much. That was the first advice or warning. The second one would have been a violent one. Dmitry Peskov, press secretary of the President of the Russian Federation, responded to criticism of the special military operation by Ramzan Kadyrov, head of the Republic of Chechnya, Russian Federation, and advised him to, quote unquote, set aside emotions in assessments. Quote from Peskov: It is a very emotional moment. Heads of oblasts have the authority to express their point of view and give assessments. Another thing, of course, is that even in difficult moments, emotions should be excluded from any assessment. End quote. Peskov. He acts very much unlike Peskov. Details. Peskov stated that Kadyrov, and I'm quoting, as well as the whole Republic, has made and continues to make a very important contribution to the military operation against Ukraine. End quote. Russia's defeat in Kharkiv Oblast and Liman has fundamentally changed the Russian information space. Propagandists have now begun to criticize the military leadership of the Russian Federation and complain about the lack of transparency regarding the progress of the war. Well, so it seems like dissent is allowed in Russia, but measured as anywhere else. Remember, they do not have in their constitution, as far as I know, freedom of speech granted, enshrined in it. Unlike us, the ones in the United States of America, who have that enshrined in the US Constitution, and still, if you exercise your freedom of speech, you get in trouble. Sometimes you shouldn't get in trouble at all. Well, there are, for each action, there are consequences. That's true. So if you say something, be it true, be it a lie, you can get in trouble. It depends who is at the receiving end and how much power that person has. So, you see, even in countries like the United States of America, where I have to tell you, wherever I traveled on this planet, and I've been in many places, I haven't found so much freedom of speech as here, with one exception. Can you guess the exception? It's one country. Actually, it was one time in that country when you could basically say anything you wanted and not be sanctioned. Well, surprise, surprise, that was not United States of America, that was not Germany, that was not Sweden, that was not France, there was Romania. After the 1989, after the communist system fell, I'm not going to get into how it fell, there was a period of time of about, I would say 10 years, when maybe 8 years, when you could say whatever you wanted, except that you support communism or that you are a communist. That would get you in trouble, but anything else, you could call people this, you could call people that, you could say whatever, you could like whatever. Not communism. But I've never been in a, how should I put it, in a system so anarchic as that one. It was an anarchy, let's put it this way. Nobody cared much. The things were, not settled at that time. Kind of like how it was in the United States after this country was finally formed by settlers, and it was given a name on this terrain, land. And there was a period of time of many tens of years, I would say maybe hundreds. Let's say from 1776, let's say about, let's say 1780. 1780. Then you got to 1880. And then you got to about I don't know, about maybe 1915. Remember, this country had, when Coke came, Coke, the drink, it had caffeine in it and it had Coke. Why did that go away? Remember, before, you didn't have to register things. You didn't have to go and say, hey, I would like to buy a gun. Government, do you allow me? Hey, in, I don't know, 1881, I bet nobody cared if you called anybody anywhere you wanted, unless the person was saying, you know what, you're going to come in and we're going to duel. Well, it's a different story. But the government, you could call whomever, whatever. Well, how did we end up to this? How did we end up to this? Our rights that supposedly come from the Creator, right? Not from the governments, were infringed and infringed and infringed since this country's creation. Great, great time. But it's going down. So don't expect Russia to be better than it can be. Look at this country. It started here. And I think right now it's right here. Russia never started here with the freedom of speech. So, you see. Nevertheless, it seems like Kadyrov is right now sanctioned. So, yellow card for Kadyrov, another yellow card, and he gets a red card. That means he's out of the game, if you know what I mean. Or he gets a straight red and done. And I kind of, I don't want to say guarantee, but I'm 98% certain that he's got the hint. You know what it is? If not, yellow card, out of the game. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.